Ferrari used to give their cars names that dripped with soul: stradale, lusso, competizione. Now, they've reached a level of arrogance where they've simply named the car after its engine configuration. The 12Cilindri. It's not a name, it's a technical specification. It's the kind of name you give a car when the marketing department is too busy checking their stock options to care about heritage. It's like buying a masterpiece painting and having the artist title it canvas and oil. It reeks of a brand that knows its fans will buy anything with a prancing horse on it, even if the label is as imaginative as a tax return. Let's be brutally honest. The 812 Superfast was a terrifying, beautiful monster. It looked like it wanted to swallow the horizon and spit out the remains. The 12Cilindri, by comparison, feels like it's been neutered by a committee of tech bros. Despite all the PR talk about evolution, this thing has actually gained weight. It's fatter than the 812, yet the torque figures have actually dropped. Ferrari is asking you to pay more for a car that carries more bulk and offers less low-end grunt. They'll tell you it's refined. But in the world of front-engine V12s, refined is just a polite word for boring. They've traded the raw, mechanical violence of the 812 for a driving experience that feels like it's being filtered through a high-end gaming PC. It's a Ferrari for people who prefer spreadsheets to adrenaline. The front end is where the tragedy truly begins. Ferrari claims this is a tribute to the iconic 365 GTB4 Daytona, but I don't see that here. It's a lazy mask. That black polycarbonate band stretching across the nose doesn't look retro. It looks like the car is wearing a massive pair of ski goggles to hide a face it's ashamed of. The 812 had eyes, aggressive, piercing LED projectors that carved into the bodywork. The 12Cilindri has flat, expressionless slits that critics have already compared to everything from a 4th-gen Camaro to a Nissan Z or even a Hyundai. It's a total loss of character. By removing the traditional grille and sculpted headlights, they've stripped away the predator look that defined the front-engine V12 lineage. It looks tall, it looks slab-sided, and frankly, it looks like it belongs in a mid-tier cyberpunk movie rather than on the streets of Maranello. Even the Cafango, the massive clamshell hood, is a desperate architectural flex to hide the fact that the design lacks the muscular creases and heat-venting aggression of the 812. It's a wide, flat expanse of nothingness. And for a car that costs over $450,000, having a front end that looks best in black, just because the dark paint hides the Mario mustache of a design, is a damning indictment of Flavio Manzoni's vision. They haven't designed a classic. They've designed a Marmite car that people are desperately trying to convince themselves will grow on them. Moving to the side, the 812 Superfast seductive, liquid curves have been hacked away in favor of something cold and architectural. If the 812 was a sculpture carved by the wind, the 12Cilindri is a block of marble that Ferrari's designers simply gave up on halfway through. The 812 Superfast had a silhouette that screamed power. It had that classic Coke bottle shape, fenders that swelled like muscles, and a waistline that tucked in tight. It looked fast even when it was parked. The 12Cilindri. It's abandoned all of that tension for a ramrod straight shoulder line that runs from the front light to the rear like a spirit level. It's flat. It's static. By removing the deep scallops and the dramatic air-channeling vents behind the front wheels, they've made the car look heavy and slab-sided. It doesn't look like it's cutting through the air. It looks like it's pushing it out of the way. It's a design that feels less like a thoroughbred and more like a heavy GT car that's lost its sense of purpose. Then we get to the most controversial part of the entire profile. The black delta wings on the rear pillars. Ferrari's marketing will tell you these are active aerodynamic elements, but from the side, they look like a desperate attempt to break up a roofline that they couldn't figure out how to finish. Instead of the 812's beautiful, integrated buttresses that flowed into the tail. We have these jarring, black triangles that look like they were bolted on as an afterthought. They disrupt the visual flow of the car, making it look disjointed. It's a look-at-me feature that tries to distract you from the fact that the actual metalwork beneath it is uninspired. It's tech for the sake of tech, sacrificing the timeless elegance of a Ferrari V12 for a look that will likely age about as well as a 90s digital watch. And don't even get me started on the wheels. For a flagship V12, you expect wheels that look like jewelry, intricate, lightweight, and aggressive. Instead, we've been given these heavy, flower power blade designs that look like they were lifted straight off a Kia EV6 or a mid-range Audi. They lack the deep concavity and the mechanical feel that made the 812's wheels look so purposeful. On the 12Cilindri, the wheels feel flat and plastic. They fill the arches, sure, but they don't have the soul. It's another example of Ferrari choosing modernity over emotion. And in the process, they've created a profile that feels more like a tech product than a supercar. Look at the glass house, the window line. On the 812, the windows followed the muscular curve of the rear haunches, creating a sense of forward motion. On the 12Cilindri, the roofline is a long, uninterrupted arc that ends abruptly. It's a fastback in the most literal, uninspired sense. It lacks the fastness. Because the pillars are blacked out to blend with those delta wings, the roof looks like it's floating, a design trick used by every economy crossover on the market to hide a bulky silhouette. On a Ferrari, it just looks like they're trying to hide the car's actual height because it's gotten too damn big. The 812 was a masterclass in functional aggression. You had that deep, violent air intake behind the front wheel that slashed into the door, bleeding air out to keep the front end planted. It was a scar of speed. On the 12Cilindri, that's gone. In its place is a smooth, featureless flank. Ferrari says it's cleaner, but clean is just a euphemism for lazy. By smoothing out the sides, they've lost the visual waist of the car. It makes the midsection look bloated, like a middle-aged athlete who's traded the gym for a tailored suit to hide the soft spots. It's lost the shrink-wrapped look that makes a front-engined supercar feel special. A V12 Ferrari should be all hood. The 812 nailed this. The cabin felt like it was sitting right on top of the rear axle, emphasizing that massive engine up front. But because of the way the 12Cilindri side character line sits so high and so flat, the proportions feel skewed. The nose looks needlessly long and flat, and the rear looks heavy and chopped. It doesn't have the crouched stance of a predator ready to spring. It has the static, balanced look of a grand tourer that's more interested in a comfortable highway cruise than a canyon run. It's a silhouette that swapped drama for geometry, and in a Ferrari, that is an unforgivable sin. The rear end is where the 12Cilindri finally drops the act. If the front was a confused tribute, the rear is a total surrender to the digital age. It's the final nail in the coffin of the 812's visceral, mechanical legacy. For decades, the twin or quad round taillights were the signature of a Ferrari V12. They looked like afterburners, symbols of a car that was leaving the rest of the world behind in a blur of red light and noise. The 12Cilindri has thrown that heritage into the trash. In its place, two thin, horizontal LED strips embedded in a sea of black plastic. They don't look like Ferrari lights. They look like the eye of a Cylon or a high-end soundbar. It's a design that has zero brand equity. If you strip the badge off the back, you could be looking at a futuristic concept from any manufacturer in the world. They've traded a timeless icon for a trendy, slot machine look that will feel dated before the first lease agreements are even signed. Then there's the rear diffuser. On the 812, the aero was integrated into the bodywork with a sense of purpose. On the 12Cilindri, the bottom half of the car looks like it's been swallowed by a giant, black plastic tumor. The diffuser is massive, not in a GT3 race car way, but in a we didn't know how else to hide the bulk way. It juts out and dominates the entire rear view, making the car look incredibly bottom-heavy. It lacks the elegance of a finished product. It feels like the car is wearing a massive carbon fiber diaper. Instead of the tight, tucked-up rear of the 812 that showed off those massive rear tires, we get a wall of black geometry that completely kills any sense of lightness. But the real tragedy is the exhaust. The 812 Superfast shouted its presence through 4 glorious, circular pipes that looked like cannons. They were the focal point of the rear, promising a V12 symphony that could wake the dead. The 12Cilindri has gone corporate. The pipes are now integrated into squared-off metallic housings that look like they belong on a luxury SUV. They've lost their prominence, and thanks to new particulate filters and tightening regulations, the sound, the very reason you buy a Ferrari V12, has been strangled. It's lost that high-pitched metallic F1 scream of the 812. It's deeper, more bass-heavy, and ultimately more sanitized. Ferrari is selling you a 12-cylinder engine, while giving you an exhaust note that's been neutered for the sake of being a good neighbor. Standing behind the 12Cilindri, the message is clear. This isn't a car built for the driver who wants to feel every vibration and hear every combustion cycle. It's a car built for the collector who wants the latest gadget. The 812 Superfast was the peak of the analog-feeling V12. It was angry, it was beautiful, and it was unashamedly a Ferrari. The 12Cilindri is a heavy, overstyled, digitally filtered replacement that tries to hide its lack of soul behind active aero flaps and a Daytona marketing script. It's not a successor. It's a retreat. Ferrari didn't build the best V12 they could. They built the one that looked best on a PowerPoint slide. When you line them up, the 12Cilindri doesn't feel like a successor. It feels like an apology. The 812 Superfast was the peak of a century of Ferrari understanding one thing. A V12 should be a raw, unfiltered event. It was a car that looked like it was screaming even when the engine was off. The 12Cilindri is what happens when a brand becomes more obsessed with its brand identity than its soul. Ferrari has built a car for a world of digital renders and Instagram filters. A car that looks clean on a smartphone screen, but lacks the physical presence of a true heavyweight. They've swapped the 812's terrifying, predatory stance for a look that is clinical, cold, and desperately trying to be intellectual. By chasing this future retro aesthetic, they've managed to create something that is neither. It's not as timeless as the Daytona it claims to mimic, and it's not as visceral as the 812 it replaces. It is an exercise in compromise wrapped in expensive carbon fiber. It's heavier, it's got less torque, and it's hidden its face behind a black plastic mask. The 812 Superfast was a masterpiece of mechanical aggression. The 12Cilindri is just a very expensive piece of industrial design. Ferrari hasn't moved the needle forward. They've just smoothed the edges until there's nothing left to hold onto. If the 812 was the last of the greats, the 12Cilindri is the first of the forgettable. It's a Ferrari for a generation that values the specs on the screen more than the sweat on the palms.